morning.
Good morning.
And good morning to everyone. You're listening to CABTalk. And this morning, Trudy Jones is here with me as a guest. And Trudy, you...
And go.
Good morning. You're listening to CABTalk. And welcome to everyone. And also welcome to Trudy.
Good morning.
Now, Trudy, you are the centre manager or the manager of
the Resource Centre, yes.
the
That's right.
Wairarapa
Resource Centre, yes.
Yes, I looked it up in the phone book just to check to see that you were there. So
We are in the phone book, yes.
People who have a phone book, the old way, which we all
Yes.
rely on.
Yes, definitely.
Most of us. But you obviously you can look up the phone book, the yellow pages online.
Yes.
So you can't miss out, can you?
No, definitely. And I think word of mouth in town is pretty good these days. Everybody sort of knows what's going on around town, which is lovely.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're supported by a board.
Yes, we have. We have a board above us that is made up of a mixture of people, and there's some councillors, and then there's poverty action groups and things like that. And the board just sit above us, and basically we started the shop. We've just had a 10-year anniversary, and 10 years ago when we started it, we didn't ever think we'd get as big as we are. So it's lovely to see us flourishing with lots of people, and employment is our base for everything, is get people back into the workforce.
Yes, that's the difference with your op shop
Yeah,
to
definitely.
other op shops, because
Yes.
there seems to be quite a few op shops in Masterton.
There is, yes, and we because we can try very hard to keep our prices at the lowest possible cost, because we're trying to say to people there is no such thing as hand out anymore. It must be a hand up. We must be re-educating people to learn to use facilities like ours and other ones.
Yes.
Don't dump. Don't dump your goods at the transfer station. Bring them in and recycle them. But also, employment. If we've got our loveliest member that's gone off to go to work, Thomas, and Thomas does 3 to 4 months at the bee extraction place in Masterton, and he's employed there. And then he comes, as soon as he's finished his contract there, he comes back and works for us as a volunteer. So he's always working, and that's a really good philosophy in his head, is the more employment he can get is better, but when he's not employed he works for us the whole time. So it gives him a purpose to get up in the morning and get on with his day, which is really important for mental health, for well-being, and everything, is being working.
Yeah, and I agree with you entirely. Even if you're a retiree like myself,
Definitely.
You get up in the morning and you think, what are you going to do today? Well, I've got Citizens Advice.
Yes.
I've got the radio. I can always go and see somebody and sort out a few things.
Days are very, very long and very sad if you have not got some purpose in your day to get up and do things. And we're just, and on a personal level, we just going through this in my house, because my husband's just had a heart attack and finished work a little bit earlier than we anticipated. So we were going through this in a mentally basis of what is he going to do during the day, and what's for him, and what's anything else, and why do I get up in the morning when I've got nothing to do?
Yes.
And that's why we say to everybody, a purposeful day is a good day. A tired sleep is a good sleep, that you're not just dragging your feet around, and because of mental health being such a huge thing these days, and our well-being so important, that's why we love to see people just walking in the centre if they want a couple of days, and if they want half a day, come in and do a small job and be around people. And talking is one thing, because when you give up a job, you give up that communication, you give up meeting people, you give up talking to people in the staff room and things, and then you're sitting there on your own. So that can be very difficult. Yeah,
it's a lovely atmosphere in your shop.
Very, we love it. We've always got the radio pumping, there's always plenty of people around. And we've just done a huge revamp, and we've moved the entire shop around, so we have the big roller door open for all the fresh air. But it just is so nice when people are walking past, they pop their head in, and then again we always have the free bread and free kai table, that as much as we can fill it up with. If you've got excess fruit in your house, we've always got lemons being passed in, and silver beet and rhubarb, and people just are dropping in stuff every day.
Yes.
call in, just grab a loaf of bread and just say hello. Because also, again, it's that touching base with your community that keeps you, people see you're okay.
Yeah.
And then we say to you, do you know about the free Christmas dinner that has been provided by the Marston District this year?
Yes.
And what are you doing on Christmas Day? They're conversations that's so lovely to have with people, just to see if they're okay and to see if they need anything and just to say hello. Yeah.
Now that free Christmas lunch is, where's it going to be held? Because I see that you've got to
You got to register.
register by the 18th.
Yes, you do
of
have to register, and it is
December.
run by the community church in Namatawa Road.
Yes.
So there is flyers all around, including one on our door, and I'm sorry I haven't got any more information because I read it on the way out.
Right.
At this stage, it is being held at the rec centre.
Yes, we've got the details at CAB.
Yes.
And people can ring and find out.
Yeah, so please, people, if you're sitting at home on Christmas Day, don't do it. Join with your families, take your children, take yourself and go down and go for Christmas dinner. The atmosphere is absolutely beautiful, and there are a wonderful group of people that put it on, and they're all there just to make lunch more enjoyable for everybody. And it's not about being broke, it's not about being lonely, it's about being together on a community day that everybody can be involved.
Yes.
Yeah. And it's not about financial. If you could be the wealthiest person, but you might be sitting there on your own Christmas Day. And then don't do that. There is people that want you to go and join them, sit at a table.
I think
No?
probably people are reluctant to actually make that move. If you're on your own and you, just to make that actual move.
To go and do it.
To do it.
Yeah.
If somebody knows that a person's on their own and they can say, look, why don't you come with me?
Yes.
That is the best way.
Definitely. And take the lead and say to them that once they go, they'll realise, because one of our lovely ladies at work who has financially off and has a large family, but on Christmas Day, all her family go off to their prospective in-laws and things like that. So she was on her own. And I said to her, go. And she's gone every year since then and had a wonderful time. She meets people there and she has a chat and
Yes.
a beautiful meal. And they usually send them home with the leftover food.
Yes.
And she said it just makes her day, you know.
And most of that food would have been donated by
It is,
different,
yes.
businesses
Organisation,
and
yes.
Organisations.
Yeah, and the wonderful people from the church get up and they prepare it, because they also do a hot meal once a week at their church in Namatawa Road on a Monday night.
Yes.
And anybody is welcome to go up there and take of a lovely hot meal once a week. And also the company, and to be together with other people once a week to touch base. Again, it's that seeing people and being amongst other people.
So how many would be there on a Monday night?
They get quite a good crowd, 20 or 30, and then they
Yes.
could get over that. And then it might be a smaller crowd. We're building it up and we're promoting it at the shop as much as we can, because it's not about the meal, it's about the company, and it is about the meal. It's about having a nice hot meal once a week and feeling part of a group that are checking on you and saying hello and how are you.
And perhaps noticing
Yes.
that somebody is not.
Yeah, and
doing
if you need a
something quite
ride,
like they
they'll
used to.
organise people to pick you up. It's just lovely, and that's the community centre on a Monday. And there is other organisations that are also doing outreach programs like that as well. So please contact people that are in the know with these things, and
Yes.
always talk to people,
Yeah.
because loneliness can turn into a very, very sad situation, and nobody needs to be alone.
No.
You know.
Well, I mean, it's nice to be alone at times.
Of course
You
it
need
is.
that space.
Yeah. But it's also, we've been forced through COVID and things to have created a different world that is a lonely world for some people. We want to get those people back out of this world, and we want to get them back mixing. And it's not, please don't think I'm promoting a religious organisation. These people have just offered an opportunity for anybody to go and have a hot meal and be part of a lovely group of people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sounds wonderful.
It does.
Doesn't it?
Well, I
Yes.
think if we all took a little bit of time, it's like the centre doing the Why Waste bread. If we have a little bit of time in our day to pass this bread on to people, and somebody gets a loaf of bread that's more money in their groceries, then it's a really nice thing that, and the people that bring in the silver beet and the vegetables, they have abundance of it, but they want it passed on. We have a lady that brought in 30 tomato plants.
Yes.
And we passed all those tomatoes out, and I still get mentioned by people coming in now going, my tomatoes are doing really well. Well, if they can feed their family on tomatoes over the holidays, then that woman's done an amazing thing.
Yes.
You know,
She
and you
has.
can see these things popping up in the community more and more.
Oh yes, no. Well, I had Bev Jack on recently,
Definitely, yeah.
and they have got a community garden.
Yes, they have.
Can't quite think where it is, but it's down past the police station.
Oh, so it's at St Matthew's
area.
Church?
Yes, St.
Yeah, it's in St Matthew's Church, and it's at the back there. I just made sure I was right before I commented then.
Yes.
And that community garden, again, anybody can go in, just do a bit of hours, turn the dirt over. If your skills are in gardening or in anything else, go down and share and help out a group of people that might need your skills.
Yeah.
Skills are so nice to be recycled. We always laugh with that sentence.
I think it is good because I love gardening.
Yes.
And I've got a problem in my garden at the moment. I'm a raised veggie garden.
Right.
And I think it's the soil's just gone
Flat.
flat.
Yeah.
And all the seeds I sow come up and they just go yellowy looking.
Yeah,
and
so
they
your soil's lacking in something. Yeah.
Yes. But then I've got these huge cabbage plants right beside them, and I think they're taking it all.
Yeah, well, they're probably draining it.
Yes.
There's a new cabbage on the market, which is called a tiny cabbage, and it's like a 1 or 2 person little, it's called a buddy cabbage,
Yes.
and they're becoming very popular at Mitre 10. A friend was showing me hers, and they're just enough for a meal or two people's meals, because we've gone for the days, again, of a huge cabbage that we fed half of our street with.
Yes.
But also, we still get people bringing them into the centre when they've taken their piece off it, they hand the rest of it out.
Yes.
But veggie gardens, we have this sort of talk at the centre where people go, people are lazy and they're not putting in veggies. It is not as easy as people think. The soil, the cultivation, the fertiliser, everything costs money.
Yeah.
So if you can be part of a community group like St Matthew's is running, then it's wonderful that they've got the land there and they're helping us to turn it over. It started off as a bit of like in England.
The allotments.
Thank you. That's the word,
Yeah.
allotment in
That
England.
always intrigued me.
Yes, and they tried that, and quite a few people took it on because, again, they were moving into state house and things, and there was no way that they could start a garden. Well, that you go down and you get your little garden going and you get your little veggies, and somebody next door might have an excess of tomato plants or whatever, and they pass them on. Again, it's just called sharing and caring, and sharing and caring is one of the nicest things we can all do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I love the story of the allotment with the little shed.
Yes.
You know, people
Yeah.
sat down and talked and had.
You know, and again, that's what I said to you when my husband finished work. That was the first thing we put in was a veggie garden. And they are quite dear to start. You know, you don't just dig a hole in your backyard and start planting things. You know, there certainly is some things that need to be done to get your veggies to that stage. But one of our ladies told us a really quick, handy tip because all of our seeds, our beans were getting eaten. She said a tin, cut the bottom and the top off a baked bean tin, plonk it over your seedlings.
Yeah.
No snail, no nothing gets at it, and the birds can't get in. And by the time you take the tin off, it's well established.
Yeah.
And I was just like, that's such an interesting, I never would have thought of doing that.
No.
Yeah.
Well, I've cut the bottom off those coffee
Yes, pods.
throwaway coffee things.
Yes.
And put those in, but you see they blow around in the wind.
Yeah, no, well,
But
she
a
does
tin
hers
wouldn't.
with baked bean tins and has the same ones every year.
Yes.
And cut a top, a bottom off, push it down, put your seedling in, and no bird can get it, and no snails or anything else can get it. Slugs can get it, and by the time you take the tin off, it's a well-established plant. I was just so interested because I know we lost all our first batch.
Oh yes, and you know when there's a slug around and you just can't get it, or you go out
Yeah.
with a torch at night and try and.
See the little things. Yeah, they're certainly going for a garden.
Yes.
Yeah,
Well, we're off to a good start.
definitely a
Judy.
good start.
We'll play some music and we'll see how we go.
Good as gold.
stop once, not even to complain. Yeah, I was next to you all day. No wonder I didn't complain. If you wanna take a break, let's take a break. If you wanna keep going, we'll keep going straight. If you wanna take a break, let's take a break. Take a break, yeah, take a break. You know, I never worked so hard in my life. Never felt so tired, felt so right. No, I never worked so hard in my life. Never felt so tired, felt so alive. If you wanna take a break, let's take a break. If you wanna keep going, we'll keep going straight. If you wanna take a break, let's take a break. Take a break, yeah, take a break. Well, I could do this till kingdom come, working all day next to my home. Yeah, I could do this till kingdom come, but we only had to do it till the work is done. If you wanna take a break, let's take a break. If you wanna keep going, we'll keep going straight. If you wanna take a break, let's take a break. Take a break, yeah. If you wanna take a break, let's take a break. If you wanna keep going, we'll keep going straight. If you wanna take a break, let's take a break. Take a break, yeah. Take a break.
Right. Ooh. Too busy talking off air, weren't we?
We definitely never stop talking off air.
But
Yeah.
we haven't geared up for the next subject. But where are we at?
Well, where are we at? We'd like to sort of concentrate on telling you a little bit about our recycling at the moment, which has become a huge thing for the Resource Centre. And I was just saying to Wes during the break, we now take your pill, and I'm trying to get the words out because it's your pill packet containers. So what blister packs. When you get your pills in your blister pack, we now have the bins down at the centre, as well as we have a bin for your batteries. We have a bin for your hygiene products, which is your shampoo bottles and your toothpaste and your toothbrushes and your shavers. We have a bin for your coffee pods. So now we've got the new blister pack bins and cell phone bins. What we're saying to people is before they do anything, go to the dump, try and recycle down with us. And we recycle all of those. The batteries are redone at our cost because nobody in New Zealand will help us out. But we don't want little batteries dumped at the dump because we want them recycled. And the blister pack has just only come into the business a couple of months ago. So that's getting slow for the takeoff, but it is coming up.
So people need to know.
People
Now,
need to know.
When you say blister pack, you know when you get Panadol in those...
Yes. Yep, all of those as well. Every pill packet can be recycled
Anything
for some
that
reason.
You pop a pill out
Yes,
of.
anything you pop a pill out of, and believe me, if we all looked in our cupboard, there's an awful lot of them.
Yes.
We're the recycling department for that. So what we're trying to say is when you pop your head in the door and you go, I've got this, have a little look around and go, oh, I've actually got some old tools I want to dispose of. Think about the fact that a family trying to set up a veggie garden like we were trying to say before, or you go, oh, I've just cleaned out Nana's flat and she's got masses of sheets. I don't suppose anybody wants them. Yes, we do. There is a need for everything to be, do not dump it. And again, it's all about looking around your house going, do I really need to hold on to that? I've just bought a new one. Well, recycle it. Somebody might get some use out of it. And with Christmas time coming up, there is no need, and I've said this before over and over, there is no need to financially kill yourself for Christmas. Any Christmas is a lovely Christmas. Any gift that a child opens, whether it's a colouring in book or a puzzle or anything else, it's how you make that day.
Yeah.
And you can make that day beautiful with a roast chicken. That you can pick a chicken up now from one of the supermarkets, $6-7, and it's what you do on the day. A jelly's 50 cents.
Yes.
Make that day, go for a walk in the morning and go around town and take them down to the skate park. Make the day a lovely day and make it about being together as a family, or even if you're on your own, have a nice meal. You know,
that park is just so popular.
Oh, we are one of the most fortunate people in the Wairarapa that we can say, I mean, last weekend it was all free because the district council put on the free weekend. But if you go to the park and even have your lunch or your tea in the park, Henley Lake is another one. The free barbecues. Take your dinner down to Henley Lake. The free barbecues are always up and running. Sit there with your family and have a barbecue and look at the beautiful surroundings. It's about just empowering us. If in Wairarapa, we're one of the most fortunate towns. We're an hour from every beach.
Yes.
We have things in town that are just beautiful that we can use. The library even has the seats sitting next to it that you can just sit there if you're not on Wi-Fi. Sit there and look up on your phone some things you need to do and sit in the sunshine, you know.
Yeah, well, that's good. And if you don't do what I do and forget to take my phone off roaming.
Definitely take your phone off roaming, yes.
But if you do, you can go along there as the library has that great facility.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, and pop your head in the library because, again, there's the computers there. If you need to look up something, if you need to do a bit of research for a job or anything else, go in the library. Use everything in Marston. We're one of the most fortunate. We at the centre always say we do not promote we promote a hub of going to get your CV done at Reap House. Go to the Citizens Advice Bureau if you need information on something. Use everybody in town because then they can continue working. Don't start small hubs that aren't using other agencies in town. Promote. Like if they come into us and they go, oh, we've got a whole lot of jars. Well, we'll recycle off those jars and then we'll get them back in the community. But then we go through the community centre who might be doing a preserving course. We give them to teach the people to do preserving. And then they can all use them for that.
Yes.
So always look around what is available in the community.
I think the hardest thing with your jars is getting the right top.
It is, and we ask that people bring, but even if they don't, they can be used for other things. There's people we had recently a couple that were getting married, and they did their entire wedding through the resource centre because it was called a mixed match wedding. So all of the plates were different, all the cups were different, and she said they actually brought them all back after the wedding, which was lovely, but it was quarter of what it would cost to rent it, and it was different. She said they did the table settings, they did everything, and again, she just got all the jars and she just went round neighbours and got all of their floral decays. That was a lovely word, Trudy, it wasn't even right. And set all these tables up and everything else up, all just using old jars, bottles, old milk bottles and things. It was beautiful.
I saw a wonderful idea, it might have been in one of the garden books, where you could either cut out pretty pictures of flowers and you glued them on the inside of your
Jars,
jar,
yeah.
and then you used glue tack for a candle and put the candle in the middle.
Oh,
And they look lovely.
it's gorgeous.
Really pretty. And I mean, if you haven't got flowers, you can
Yes.
cut them out of magazines. And
But again, even going down the symmetry and people struggle, recycle your plastic flowers. Bring them into us, and we just, everything is very cheap. But it's about, going down to the symmetry and putting those flowers down there. You don't need to go and spend a lot of money. You don't need to financially. Please don't go booking up on trucks, and please don't go booking up on cards and things. It's a difficult time for people, Christmas, but it's not about the gift. No. I mean, we put our bikes out and clean it up, give it a little tidy, and give a kiddie a little bike for $5 for Christmas. They would be the happiest kiddie around if they could, and then take them down the park. The little bike area at the park is just wonderful for little kids to learn how to ride on safely. Yes. And there's chairs and tables there, and you can sit down and take your tea and sit down and watch your children enjoy what's around.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the things I think parents are probably need to keep an eye on what's going on, because it's not how the kids, the littlies, play, it's how they interact, and if the parents there, they can have a bit more security.
Always be around your children. Again, and I think I've told you last year, we do Christmas lights, and ours are on now down the end of Johnson Street. And you can come in our yard, and there's a little house, and there's a train, and there's lots of lights. But again, we always say, come with a parent, come with an adult or something. Don't let your children just run around, because there is always safety issues, and there's always stranger danger. We should need to be careful in this life, you know. But it's also join your children, walk around and talk to them, and show them the lights. And the Masterton, we're very fortunate. We've got some lovely people. Steve Sales in Millard Avenue do an amazing Christmas light display. And his is beautiful. And once it comes out in the paper, take your children for a drive. Take your children around to the addresses, tick them off, make a game out of it, and see the Christmas lights. And on Christmas night, we always have Santa comes to our place, and there's a full-size sleigh, and Santa sits in the sleigh, and all the children can go, and he talks to them about Christmas and things like that. It's about, and that's what I'm saying, these are all free things that your children will remember for years, going to see the Christmas lights and doing things. And promote it. People just ring the radio station or ring whoever's putting the list out and get your address in there, and people can come around and have a look at your lights. People do a lot of effort for it.
I will make sure that CAB has
a list of them. They usually come out. Ours are on, but I do know Steve told us that his lights don't come on to the 12th of December, and then the list should come out in the paper, and there's usually quite a nice array of houses you can go and look at. The people have put a lot of effort into these houses, and it's worth taking your children to have a look at. Yeah.
Oh, well, we've got a good person at CAB that will research
that. Good, thank you.
And we'll make sure that our CAB has that for people to bring in. And
we share the lists on Facebook, but again, not everybody is on a computer and things like that. So manual lists are always nice to see up at a window of a shop, to say, take your children, not just children. If you're on your own or anything, get in your car and go for a drive. Get a nice feeling of loveliness with all these lights. And again, the people that are doing them, they put a lot of hard work. Be respectful and don't touch, because these, once they're broken and things, you can't replace them. But just enjoy them.
God, they must have a bigger area to store it all when
they're packed up. We lost our car shed for our lights, because we have a large display. And it does take 2 to 3 months to get our display put all up. And we put ours on the 1st of December, so that everybody, and the rest homes come, and the IHC houses come, and people all bring their, regularly, they bring this, they look forward to bringing their children all around and things like that, and we just love it. We absolutely love it. Yeah.
That's fantastic.
It's a lovingly thing to do, but it's a very difficult thing, because it takes a lot of man hours and a lot of time to put them up. Yeah.
Gosh, and so with your husband having not
the heart attack, we were a bit behind, and he has just finished them.
Helpers?
We did have a working bee. I have a wonderful family, but again, he's been out for weeks, just every night finishing them off, because you never stop, and you just add more lights, and it takes a lot. And then there's the pack up afterwards, because whatever goes out has to be all packed up and put away. And
labelled and every other
it does for the next year. The better the labelling, the better they are. Yes.
Gosh, and tell me, how is it powered?
It's all powered by power, so that's at our cost. It's all plugs. We chose a few years ago to pay to have some outdoor plugs put in, so we have 6 light plugs outside on the house. So we have multi-boxes that Tony's built, so we have probably 300 to 400 plugs plugged in. We have a lot of lights.
Wow. Trudy.
People say whereabouts. We don't need to tell you. You're going to find it. It's in Johnson Street. The standing joke is at about 8 o'clock. All your surges of power will be going off. We're draining your power, but it's lovely. We get little kids that come in their pyjamas most nights in our area, and because our area has a lot of children, and we have the big new development down the end of Iron Street, and a lot of foreign families came last year, which was wonderful to see. So that's about being a community together.
Yeah.
And we always promote other people. If we know where the other houses are, we always promote them.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's nice for people to go
Oh.
and see all of them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to come.
Good. I hope you do, because again, we always say to people, once you've seen them, they are lovely. They're worth just going down and having a look at, and sit on the fence and take a good look at them. Wander around the section.
Yeah.
There's some quite lovely ones in this year, but it's again, people asked us how come, for financial. We found that we work very hard during the year to do it, and it's our way of giving back, and at our cost we want to give it back to the community. Yeah, we want people to be able to enjoy it. We've got 4 children, so we know our kids and our grandchildren, they love every minute of it. So
I bet they do.
it's worth seeing it. Yes. Yeah.
Right, Trudy, we're going to have another
Definitely.
little bit of music.
You are a dream of love, truly. You have my heart and my heart has me. Darling, I don't quite know where to start. I love you, you have my heart. Well, if I could give you just one thing, it would not be a diamond ring. It would not be something money could buy. I'll give you this heart of mine. Well, I don't know what I would do without you. My life has changed, it's true. There is no going back after you. Love, oh, love, oh, well, ask what you like and I'll do what I can. I'll hold you tonight, won't let go of your hands. Well, these hard years lie now in the past, for I see that our love will last. No, I don't know what I would do without you. My life has changed, it's true. There is no going back after you. Love, oh, love, oh, love.
Like, we're off air, Trudy and I were just talking about grandchildren, and they may live quite close or they could live a long way away.
Yes.
But when they get their own lives and they're so busy, aren't they?
Well, they are,
Yeah.
but they always want to touch base, and that, again, even if it is through Skypes and things like that sort of thing, communication can be a sad thing. You know, they still like to have a grandparent, make them up a little care package. That's one thing that we've got a couple of people at the shop that come in every year religiously to do the Secret Santa thing,
Yes.
and they buy like a crystal bowl for $10.
Yes.
And they put home baking in the Christmas bowl, and they said their grandchildren, they send them off and things like that. You can pick up the most. One of them picked up a vintage suitcase a couple of years ago. I remember this whole story, and she put in it a lovely scarf and some bits and pieces and sent it to them in Auckland. And the granddaughter was just in awe of what had been done. And it's those personal things.
Yes.
And again, Christmas doesn't have to be about even wrapping things. Find other things that can be used, and find out of the box things that can be done.
Well, that's a lot of talk at the moment, isn't it?
Yes, it is. Well, we're all on
Instead
the...
of all that tinsely paper and stuff.
Yes,
it's hard to
reuse, but also think out of the box.
Talking about that, somebody said their grandmother used to iron the
Wrapping paper.
Well, yesterday I got a box, and all around the outside of the box and the container that was inside was this white sort of paper that looked quite nice.
Yeah.
But it was all scrunched up. So I got the iron out.
So you did it. You did
I
it.
ironed this paper, and it's really beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm going to use it as wrapping paper.
Well, that's what I'm saying. But there's also things like you can make a homemade calendar. Go and get some photos printed off. People love, family members, everybody loves a photo. Make your own calendar for next year. It's very cheap to make. They have kits of them at the warehouse. Make a diamond art and get them from Uncle Bill's. Give a gift that has been made with love and passed on.
Yeah.
More than a gift that we buy and just dispose of these days. Give a gift of a pool outing with Nana and things like that. These things are memories that are made.
Yes, that is one thing that that is quite a good thing to do.
Yes.
Is to be able to give, like, there are lots of cards around where they can go and buy.
They can
their own.
do.
But I remember one Christmas when some of the my grandchildren got a card like that.
Yeah.
And all the other kids had open presents that they could see and do.
Yeah.
And this one didn't, because it got a Prezi card.
Yes.
And so there wasn't the joy.
To see the opening of it.
No.
I gave one of my grandchildren, and he still hasn't redeemed it because the trains went off to buses. He is desperate to take a train ride to Wellington on the train, and so that was his gift. But I made it more. There was a $10 that he could have McDonald's at the other end, and there was just an excitant height of what he could do. And I said to my daughter, it was a bit, and again, he opened it and he couldn't quite get the buzz that everybody else had got over their gifts. So we decided maybe we needed to actually put the ticket in there or something else.
Yes.
And even the steam train that was running from Carterton recently, we all did that as a family. And then a friend of mine, a very nice guy that works with us, Bruce, he took some lovely photos. I got the photo printed off, and then he took it to his school and showed everybody at school. There's a memory-making things that we take for granted. Just get a 50-cent frame and get a little photo printed off that of an event they've been to or something that's happened. Make your own. I think TV now is very into these shows that show you reuse, re-promote, re-gift, you know, something that you've got in your cupboard, pass it on.
And the other day when I popped in, you were looking around for some frames.
Yes. Yeah.
Because you can paint them.
Oh, you can do lots of things. I had a lady that bought a tablecloth, a Christmas tablecloth, because her daughter would like to, she asked her to make homemade Christmas crackers, reusable ones. Oh. So instead of, she said I could go to the shop and buy couple of $100 worth of material, she bought a $5 tablecloth and she cut it all up and she made these beautiful Christmas, she brought them back to show us, beautiful reuse Christmas crackers. So every year you're going to reuse their Christmas crackers that she's made, and she used an inner tube that was a solider one, and she bought bits and pieces that could fill it up and put all stuff in it, and every year they're going to use their crackers again. And I thought, what a wonderful idea. And she just popped her head in.
They wouldn't pull
She
them.
bought the banger. You can
Oh,
buy the bangers online,
Yes, you can.
and you just pull a banger, and then they opened
on
the end
the
of it out.
inside.
Yeah, on the inside.
Oh, that's a great
Yeah,
idea.
and they were beautiful, and all she'd done is got some plastic ivy and done lovely decorations and ribbons on the end of it, and that was a $5 tablecloth. So again, it's thinking out of the box and thinking out of the square of things. And as we say, buy a nice glass bowl. And you don't, even if you're not a baker, put the trifle ingredients in for Christmas Day and pass that on with the recipe. Pass a homemade recipe on. I mean, my children wouldn't go without my mother, who's passed away 10 years ago. They wouldn't go without having her trifle on Christmas Day or her stuffing. And that trifle has to be made to the strictest of, and we all know what goes in it and everything else. They're passed down things. We tend to forget about them. Write a recipe out and pass it on and things like that.
I went to my one of my quilting groups the other night, and it was quite a meal.
Yes.
One of my the girls had made a Christmas pudding,
The original one.
and her grandmother's recipe,
Oh, that's just beautiful.
and it was beautiful. But you know, and I looked at another recipe in one of my books that was actually for microwave Christmas pudding. It was quite a lot of breadcrumbs in it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a Wairarapa, yeah.
Yes, but it also
Yeah.
holds everything together.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if we'd even know how to make an old-fashioned Christmas pudding these days. I tend to find we all sort of head down and buy them, but that's not one thing I do know. I do know how to make a very good trifle and a very good stuffing for the turkey, and people go, "Ooh, turkeys are horrible." Not if they're basted with love.
Yeah.
And there's some very, very easy tricks that goes with that. The paper that your pound of butter comes in, put it over the top of your turkey, and then about half an hour before you finish, take it off, and your turkey is beautiful and moist. And then put it back in the oven, and it'll brown up. But yeah, it's just a piece of paper off the butter wrapper. Yeah, there's all sorts of bits and pieces. You don't need to be fancy, you know.
No.
Turn it into something lovely.
My father was a baker,
Yes.
so that at Christmas time they used to bake a lot of Christmas cakes.
Yeah.
For people, they didn't make the Christmas cakes. I don't think they may have, but people could go along to the bakery and they'd put all the Christmas cakes in and bake them.
Oh, so they'd have the oven facility.
Yeah.
That's
Huge oven.
excellent idea.
Yes.
Yes, because again, and that's gifting off friends and things and borrowing off friends. Old Christmas tin cakes that have been stored in cupboards for years, they can still be used. You just line it with paper, and the big old Christmas cakes, cut it up and pass it on to people. You know, share the love around.
It's a bit like
know?
a wedding cake, isn't it? You know, the first tier was...
You always put away for the christening, yes. Yeah.
And then, I remember a piece of our wedding cake stayed in the freezer for a long, long time.
Yes.
Just cut a quarter in.
Yeah.
Because there was so much.
Yeah, and that's again, people don't take it for granted that you can make a Christmas cake. There's many recipes on, and there's one on at the moment, I think, that's going around the internet, that it's called 3-ingredient Christmas cake, and it's just basically fruit juice and fruit soaked in it overnight, and then just mix your flour in.
Yes.
TikTok is amazing because everybody passes on to these interesting little recipes.
Yes.
But like we always say, recycle. Come down and get a set of glasses and put them on the Christmas table. Make your Christmas table this pretty festive of happiness that doesn't cost a lot of money.
Right, you've got some amazing glasses.
Oh, the glass we
always
get
go
in
and
are
have
just
a look.
beautiful.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the
again,
moulds.
yeah, and again, it's just taking them out of people's cupboards that have been sitting there. Don't throw it out. We got an estate recently, and it was one of the loveliest things that they passed on. They were from overseas, and they couldn't take any of it back, so they gifted it all to us to pass on. They were just things that had been kept so beautifully, and we put them all on the Christmas table, and they've all gone. And we're so looking forward to hearing that those people got, you know, like a punch bowl with the cups attached to
Yes.
the side, and it was only $20. And the lady that bought it, she said, "You just made our Christmas."
Yes.
Because the family are just going to use that as their centrepiece and have it on the table. Well, she'd had that in the cupboard for ages, and it's nice to be passed on. Don't throw your things out. Reuse them, and again, go to Heather in the park if you haven't got a sewing machine. Take 2 minutes and make a Christmas apron for a grandchild out of a sheet or a duvet cover. Those loving things that we can pass on. And Heather in the park, Come Sew With Me, has sewing machines set up that are all free and readily available, that anybody can walk in during the day. She's open from 9 till 2 and have a cup of tea, and she has scones every day. And the sewing machines, and she will help you sew. And that is one of they're the sort of things that we try and promote.
That is wonderful. I
Yeah.
haven't ever had Heather in the park.
No, haven't you not? Oh,
No.
Rose, she rents, the council give her Rose Cottage, which is in the middle of the park,
Yes.
and it's called Come Sew With Me,
Yes.
and she has sewing machines all set up, and she has vintage sewing machines that she can walk around and have a look at. She gets gifted materials and cotton, so you can go down any time, and she always puts on a batch of scones and a cup of tea in China with a teapot, and there's a group of people that go down on a regular basis, but pop your head in the door, make yourself an apron, make yourself something small and gift it on. And
That's a wonderful idea.
we send a lot of people to Heather because, again, a mum and a child could go down and do something together when they finish school. But also, it's again, she's got people in the community that sponsor her with the materials and the cotton. So it's not a financial,
No.
thing. It's about using the facilities that are around. So that's Heather Bannister, and she's at Rose Cottage in the park, and it's called Come Sew With Me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, thank you for that.
that's lovely.
I know that I do a lot of sewing,
Yes.
and I have a lot of stuff. Quite often, my sewing group will have things, bits left over that you really run out of. And
Yeah.
you're not making stuff for little kids anymore.
No, so
you've
pass
got
it on.
Little kids' materials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pass it on. Might be a Wheatie bag that they're making. That might be anything, a book bag or a tog bag.
Yes.
And write their name on the front of it. Got a child opening up a towel with a new set of togs in a homemade towel bag. It's just such a lovely thing to do.
Yes.
They're all things we were raised with that we've sort of lost the knack of, to be honest. But bring them all back,
I think it's a great idea. There's wonderful things for kids.
Yeah, well and truly. Yeah, and again, it's if you did. That's why we like the centre to be promoting other people as well.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of things around.
Yes.
Yeah.
And with you getting all those things in,
Yes.
that you
yeah.
know what you can do with.
Yeah.
Whether it's an old shirt that you can cut up
Yeah,
for.
I mean, we're one of our
bags.
wonderful volunteers from the Lions Club that we collect all of the toiletries for that pass on to go to the hospital bags, and I think I've talked about that
Yes.
before. That's just a brilliant. If you've got toiletries in your house you're not using, or you go to a motel, please bring them in because they make up hospital bags.
So you're still doing that?
We're
I looked
doing
to
that.
see
That is big.
That is really
Very
good.
big.
Somebody going to hospital.
Yes. And they will have them there at the hospital for anybody they're free. And anyway, the lady that does that happened to be talking to us, and I told her about our sewing machines, and she now is fixing them for us. She gets them all done up, oiled them and all done up, and we've put them back in the shop for people to buy. And, sewing machines can be hundreds of dollars. These are not going to be hundreds of dollars. We want them back on the market, and we want people to be able to enjoy them. And again, that was just a conversation. She was talking about something. I said, do you sew? And she said, yes. And well, that's how it came about. So we collect shower curtains for her, because that's what she makes the toiletry bags out of, is shower curtains.
Well, those are the plasticky ones.
So the plasticky
Or
shower
nylon-y
curtain, or
ones.
nylon ones.
Yes.
It's probably nylon ones more, or plastic ones. She sews them. We collect all of the toiletries for her at the shop, and she takes them up to the highest hospital, and that's the Lions Club in Masterton. They're doing a brilliant job.
There's some great people out there.
They're wonderful people. And when you meet them and you start talking to them, you'll realise just how it's called using their skills and using our skills to buddy them up with people.
Yes.
And her, like we spoke to them, and her husband said, I can come down and have a look at your bikes for you, because I've got a lot of bikes, and just make sure the road safety wise, that the brakes go and they're there, and then we can get them on the market back for people to use for Christmas. Get a bike for somebody's birthday for $10-20. It's such a lovely thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Trudy, we've got, we're getting down in time for another 10 minutes.
Definitely.
So
We've talked very well.
I think we have too.
Yes.
Yes. I'm interested about the bikes. So you do take bikes?
Definitely take bikes. We take every bike you can get your hands on. And what we have is we've got 2 men at the moment. One of ours is overseas for a year, so we're struggling at the moment. But we have a gentleman that came down and he was checking the safety of them,
Yes.
making sure everything was good to go, and then we put them back out on the market as fast as we can get them. And we're also, if you're desperate, come down and ask us, because we've got parts for bikes and bits and pieces that you might be able to use. And if there's somebody sitting at home thinking, I've got nothing to do, please pop down the centre and say to me, I'll help you out with your bikes and we'll put you to work.
Yes.
Because getting these bikes back on the market is so important. I mean, we did the children's triathlon with my grandchildren on Monday, which was just wonderful to see, and we've got a little 3-year-old and he was in it.
Yep.
And they swam, they rode their little bikes, and then they ran the oval. And the amount of children that went down to do it, and thank you so much to Jude Brown, who ran it, did the best job I've ever seen, and she's been doing it for 30 years.
Yes.
And the children just got so much out of it. It's the first time we've been involved. But again, all seeing them on the bikes. If your child hasn't got a bike, please don't feel... Call into the centre and ask me. We're happy to help to get these children back on bikes. If you need to go to a job interview and things like that in town, pop your head in the door and say, what have you got? A $20 or $30 bike will help somebody out immensely with the cost of petrol, with a family outing and things like that. Yeah, so if you've got one in your back shed, pop it down to us and we'll recycle it out and get it back in the community.
Wow.
Because believe me, I guarantee there's some bikes sitting in people's garages that have not been there a very long time that we're not using. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, they get in the way too.
Yeah, they do. And once they're finished, nobody wants them. Grandchildren don't want them because they can't transport them. Try and get them back on the market. Try a friend of mine with 2 young girls. He's a solo father raising them. He got bikes off us recently and he got a lovely bike for himself. So he takes the kids out on a weekend for a bike ride. And if it's a decent day, they can bike to school.
Yeah.
It's about empowering children and adults to get back on these bikes in the community. Save yourself some money.
And
No?
I do think that Masterton's reasonably safe.
We've got a lot of biking lanes. We're pretty
have a
cruisy,
few,
yeah.
yes, and people respect you if
Yes,
you're on a
yeah.
bike.
But also get your children back on bikes going to school. I mean,
Yes.
I'm doing a long time ago when I was at school, we biked. There was never a car involved. It was a bike to school.
Yeah.
And believe me, those bikes got reused and reused and reused and passed down, and they're still going. And the one, that's what I'm saying. Please call in, because we have lots of things like that for people to have a look around at.
There were some funny old bikes when I went to school.
I think there's still some funny old bikes now out our back area that are being recycled, believe me. The old Rally 20s and things.
Oh, I remember getting a Rally 20
Yes.
for a birthday. Oh, I thought it was Christmas.
Yeah, and again, those bikes, they don't die. They just need to be oiled up and a bit of rust removed, and we can get them back on the market, and we can help as much as we can.
They were strong
Yeah.
bikes.
Yeah, somebody said to me, we've outgrown our premises. Well, believe me, when we first started there, we didn't think we'd ever be able to fill that building. Well, we're overfilling that building. We're overflowing, so...
Yes, well, you
Yeah.
do need a turnover, don't you?
Oh, the turnover has to be quick. So that's why we try and say to people, the lower the cost we can get it out, the better it is.
Yeah.
As long as we can pay the bills, they haven't sacked me yet. But so as long as we can keep things turning over, and our clothing is only $2. Please, people, don't spend a lot of money on things. Come down and recycle your goods, but spend some... The books are 50 cents. And that's always a permanent special. The clothing's $2. So, sheets are only 50 cents. If you think about your budget these days, reuse things and reshop. Come down and reuse what you've got. Yeah.
If you've got extras coming to stay
Yeah.
and you haven't got enough of say, some sheets,
Yeah.
you can come and get some cheaper ones.
Well, that's what we always say to people. If the mattress is a bit yucky, put a duvet cover over the mattress. Nobody's going to see it.
No.
And then we've got a lady that just bought one because she's got family coming from Australia. She bought a bed off us for $25. She's going to use it for 4 weeks and she's going to gift it back. She said, Trudy, it's no point me going out and buying a whole bed for 4 weeks.
Yes.
And she bought the linen, she bought everything off us. She walked out the door with $50 gone. That person's getting a nice bed for 4 weeks and she's going to donate it all back at the end of 4 weeks. That's wonderful for us.
Yes.
But it's saved her a huge saving of thinking, where am I going to get all of this? And I don't need it and I don't want it, because a lot of people are downsizing, so they haven't got the room for storage and things like that.
No, but you can put an extra bed up for a few weeks.
Yes, yeah.
And then it can come back to you.
Yeah, and we'll re-gift it on and re-gift it on. And that's what we say to people, that a bed does not necessarily have to be, like the designer mattress and anything else. Pop it in a duvet cover. Nobody sees it. Long as you've got a mattress protector on it and a duvet cover, the child or whoever is not sleeping on the straight mattress.
No.
50 cents for your sheets.
Yep.
And recycle all everything else and you'll be good to go. It's more money in your pocket, which is always a good thing these days.
Great idea, Trudy.
Yes.
Well, I think we're just about ready to
Finish our song?
Finish our
Well, Merry Christmas to everybody,
So
and thank you so much, Wes.
Hold on a minute. Shall we play one more and see what happens?
Are we finished?